All right, guys, we made it in. Dylan Raiola commits to the University of Nebraska. Dylan Raiola coming to Lincoln, Nebraska to save this football program. I can't tell you how great of a day this is. Congratulations to Dylan. Congratulations to the Dylan Raiola family on his commitment to be a Division I college football player at the University of Nebraska. It's a great day for Dylan Raiola. I want to say last night, like the tenor of my video, I didn't mean to come across this way, and I think on watching myself go back yesterday, I was, complaining about the timeline of Dylan Raiola, and guess what? He's a guy that played Division I football. I'm not somebody who played Division I football, and he's a terrific, talented individual, and he deserves to have this moment, and he can do it. He can present his recruitment in whatever way possible. And now Dylan Raiola commits to Nebraska. A massive win for Matt Rhule, a 5-star player. Dominic Raiola. Donovan Raiola, the offensive line coach, he played a pivotal role in this recruitment, but also the offensive line got better. And I feel that that's really disrespectful. There's no sugarcoating it. Hey, Donnie, the only reason you're still on staff from Scott Frost is because we want to recruit your nephew, who happens to be one of the greatest quarterback prospects that we can ever have at Nebraska. And in fact, Nebraska has never gotten a 5-star quarterback. But I believe that Donovan Raiola, I believe that his philosophy matched up with Matt Rhule. Like Matt Rhule talked about how Donovan Raiola, when he walked into his office, he was shocked to see that they read the same motivational books, that they have the same philosophy about how line play should work. And Donovan Raiola worked in the NFL. So just because he didn't work under Scott Frost, a lot of things did not work under Frost. But now Donovan Raiola had a bounce-back year, clearly deserves his role, got a pay raise, and now his nephew is there. And was it an advantage to have Donovan Raiola on staff? Yes, of course, because Dylan's going to play ball for his uncle. The dead period doesn't exist for Dylan Raiola, so when he wanted to go to Nebraska, he could always go to Nebraska, even during dead periods, because your family lives in Nebraska. This is a tremendous day for the University of Nebraska. It's awesome. And I feel like Nebraska fans, too, everybody thinks Nebraska fans are stuck in like 1998 or 2003, with, Bill Callahan? That era of football with Bill Callahan, where Nebraska fans are expecting, we should go, win a national title, or we should be going 10-2. And the years of Bo Pelini, they went 9-3, and then they would lose, they'd get shellacked in the Big Ten championship games. All right. And Taylor Martinez was just really, really inconsistent, and Wisconsin would run for thousands of yards on them, and then Bo would go crazy. So Nebraska fans were like, a lot of them like Bo Pelini. It's not like Nebraska fans were like, oh my God, we got to go right back to a national championship. And then it's not even like with Frost, like they wanted to make a bowl game, right? And that's what Nebraska fans are all about. And with Dylan, I think the expectations around Nebraska are totally normal. It's like year one, we'll see if Dylan starts at quarterback. We'll try to get some more wide receivers. Dylan's a talented player, and we're going to wish him the best here. I don't think people are talking Heisman. Dylan Raiola is going to be the number 1 pick. Nebraska's going to win the Big Ten championship. That's the thing. People think Nebraskans are pie-in-the-sky type people when really they are the most realistic fan base. And they've also stayed loyal to a product that they haven't made a bowl game in 7 years. So with Dylan Raiola, again, I really like his profile as a quarterback. Can really extend plays, can be accurate. I think Dylan could be good with a solid run game. He could play under center. And I think that he can play kind of like this Kansas City offense is right now, like where you have Travis Kelce, who's a really good tight end, could throw it in the middle of the field, and then you get a couple of speedsters, and Dylan could throw the ball 20 or 25 times and try to hit a couple explosive plays. The thing that's so exciting about Raiola, there's so many things, but this year at Buford High, I think he only had 4 interceptions. So he doesn't throw the interceptions, which there's ways to turn the ball over. There's 2 ways. You can fumble it or throw interceptions. And he does not throw interceptions. He did not in high school. The other thing now that I do like about Raiola, some people will spin it as a negative, is that he played at 3 or 4 high schools. So he's played in Texas, big-time Texas. You know what happens when you play in Texas? Pressure. You know what happens when you're playing at Buford High School? And by the way, Georgia football's cursed at Buford High School. Nobody comes out of Buford and actually goes to play at Georgia. But you know what is you know what's tough about Buford, Georgia, is that Georgia high school football is serious. You got to win, and it's a fishbowl. And that's exactly what the University of Nebraska is like. Nebraska is a fishbowl situation, exactly like Buford High School in Georgia is. You know what Texas high school football is like? When you have all that expectation that you got to ball out, and you have all the expectations that you're going to commit to Georgia, to the home state school. You know, you're in Pinnacle, Arizona. You're in Phoenix. That's ton of pressure, and you're rubbing elbows with Matthew Stafford and Patrick Mahomes, and your dad was the center for the Detroit Lions when Matthew Stafford was there. That's going to cause a ton of that's going to add to that memory bank for Dylan Raiola, and I think that he's as equipped as anybody heading into this situation to handle it. Now, with Scott Frost, right, with really good things comes a little bit of expectation, but it could also be disappointing, okay? Like most recently with Scott Frost, I thought that he could be the quote-unquote messiah savior of the program. All right, somebody that can came back to Nebraska. I loved every second of it. I ate up the press conferences, all the former players coming back, like Jason Peter and Grant Wistrom, and all the guys from 95 and the black shirts, and that mentality of Scott Frost, the Wood River kid coming back, was just amazing. You could write a movie about it. You know, Scott Frost, his offenses at Oregon and UCF were insane. Okay, he just got off of an undefeated season, the coach of the year. Central Florida hasn't even been close to what Scott Frost was like when he left that program. He was an impeccable candidate, young, offensive guru, knows the state of Nebraska, recruits Florida, all of that. Checks boxes. Same with like a Dylan Raiola, all right? But the thing is about, Dylan Raiola is that he's a 5-star, is that even if his career goes really well or not as great, it's great for Matt Rhule in the sense that he can win 5-star battles. So it proves to Matt Rhule, hey, I can hang with Georgia. I can hang with these types of recruits. It also attracts other really good players to want to play at Nebraska with Dylan Raiola. It's an eye-opener. Like, hey, Nebraska's got their you-know-what together. Nebraska is going to be a very, desirable destination to be, and Nebraska could pull in great players. And you know what? The city of Lincoln can be really fun. There's great sports happening all around Lincoln. Downtown Lincoln is an up and happening place. But around Pinnacle Bank Arena actually has a ton to do. And a lot of recruits are going to see that through the process of Dylan recruiting there. It is going to be a hotbed, okay? University of Oklahoma wins in football. Florida State wins. Like, these are college towns. Tallahassee, Auburn. You also look at Norman, Oklahoma. These programs have won a ton of games. Manhattan, Kansas every year wins tons of games. Ames, Iowa wins you 7 or 8 games. So those are the types of places that win. And I guess Nebraska, it is a harder footprint because Columbus has the East Coast to it, Columbus, Ohio. But it's showing that Nebraska can actually really recruit. that the Big Ten is a Power 2 conference now, and this is a huge deal and a great recruitment for Matt Rhule. And for Dylan Raiola, the thing is that now you got Kalen, you got Dylan Raiola. It's possible he does start out the year as a freshman. I think Adrian Martinez done it. Caleb Williams started pretty early in his college career. Bo Nix at Auburn started from day one. There's a lot of quarterbacks. This year Noah Fafita from Arizona started and was really, really good. Shedeur Sanders at Jackson State. The list goes on and on and on and on. Jacob Eason started at Georgia as a freshman. Graham Mertz is a true freshman start all the time. So it's possible. It's possible you could be really good. Didn't Johnny Manziel win a Heisman or something as a true freshman quarterback? There's plenty of sophomore quarterbacks that win the Heisman and that are awesome. Bryce Young did it as a sophomore. All right, so it can happen. He could play well as a freshman, all right? What does the mantra say? If you're good enough, then you're old enough. Dan Lanning said that. If you're good enough, you're old enough. Guess what? If you're better than a senior as a freshman, you're going to play. And I would just want to read you and humor you guys. I just want to read you next year's schedule, and I want you guys to think about this. So, again, congrats to Dylan. Yesterday, I sounded bitter, like, his recruitment's taking forever. What's going on? It's getting frustrating. I sounded like a crotchety old guy, and it's Dylan's life, right? And everybody's going to do things differently, right? So, again, that's the way I sounded yesterday, and if Dylan took that way, I'm a big fan of Raiola. I like his game, and I root for all the players that I really review. These are 18-year-olds living their dream. I root for these guys, right? So I'm reading you guys the Nebraska schedule. I'll leave you guys with this. We're going to be talking all about the schedule and the offseason and all about year one. That's what we're going to be talking about all year. All right, so we have all year to decipher this, but right now it's Kalen, it's Chubba, and it's Heinrich Haarberg. So I like that Chubba's there. Chubba's played a lot of football. Chubba's been at Florida State. Chubba's been Florida State for 2 years, Nebraska several years. He has to be 21 or 22. He has to probably be 22 years old in year 4, Chubba Purdy. So Chubba did fine. Pretty accurate, knows the Satterfield offense. By all accounts, a good kid, a really good guy. His brother is probably going to be the MVP of the NFL and one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL and leading a great offense in San Francisco as the last pick in the draft. A really great story, right? So, but getting to Nebraska's 2024 schedule, for a true freshman to be playing quarterback. Now, you do want to elevate, get some experienced pass catchers. Imagine Fleming that still hasn't committed anywhere as of this video. Imagine if he committed to Nebraska. Imagine if you get some veterans and continue to add depth to that room because you have Malachi, Jaden Lloyd, and Jalen Doss. So you have 3 going to be true sophomores, and maybe you could get somebody with a lot of playing experience, maybe from the Sun Belt or something that has a a guy coming in with 60 or 70 catches, get a possession receiver to continue to add. The tight end position can be good, Donnie comes back and all this stuff, could be really good. Here's Nebraska's schedule. You got UTEP with Scotty Walden. Okay, shout out Scotty Walden. Austin Peay, Southern Miss coach. UTEP, the Miners come in. El Paso. That's the first game, and that's Saturday, October 31st. Then Colorado. That game's going to be freaking massive. That's a fun game to go to for anybody there. September 7th, Shedeur Sanders, all of their transfer portal guys, 4 and 5 stars. Colorado can be really good. Colorado might even be able to compete in the Big 12. Maybe go from 4 wins to 7 or 8 wins. Shedeur Sanders, if you're going to do an NFL mock draft of 2025, that guy's going to be in your top 3 for quarterbacks. Shedeur Sanders is a stud, right? That's going to be a little bit of a hard game. There, the camera went back to different lighting. Northern Iowa, UNI, great FCS program. Cedar Falls, Iowa, one of my favorite basketball programs, and runs a really good FCS program. Won't be a cakewalk. It's a home game. Illinois, Brett Bielema. So it's going to be fun to talk about this. But a Big Ten West team, I guess we could still call it that. You might even have more talent than them. You'll probably be favored in that game. At Purdue, Purdue's rebuilding. You just beat Purdue at home by a bunch. Ryan Walters, Graham Harrell, rebuilding a little bit, we could say. Rutgers at home. Then you have a bye week, and then you have Indiana, at Indiana. Then the rest of the year, you get USC, at Iowa, UCLA, and probably an improved Wisconsin. But not the craziest, not the hardest schedule. You don't play Washington. You're not playing Oregon. You're not playing Michigan. Michigan State's going to be kind of nasty this year. You're not playing Penn State. And your first 6 and 7 games, you're not playing somebody really hard until Ohio State. So for Dylan Raiola or Chuba Purdy, or, you'll probably bring in, if you're going to bring in a transfer quarterback, you bring in like one really older quarterback that just literally has a year left. I think Dylan, listen, if he doesn't start against, what would it be, UTEP, maybe he plays some snaps in the second half. And probably by game 3 or 4, you hope that he could start playing. You hope that he could start playing some quarterback. Alrighty, guys, that's that. I got to get rolling here, guys. But what a time for Nebraska football. Dylan Raiola, it is official. He is going to Lincoln, Nebraska. Thank you, guys.